this. Now, beginning with the first story, Major General Qasem Soleimani, the commander of the Quds Force of Iran's Islamic Revolution Guards Corps, has warned the United States against making bellicose threats against Tehran.
You threaten us with unprecedented consequences? 17 years ago, you invaded Afghanistan with 110,000 soldiers and hundreds of warplanes and helicopters to topple the Taliban. But now you are begging for negotiations with the Taliban. What the hell have you done? You are threatening us? I will stand against you. Our nation has been through very tough times before. You may start the war, but we will end it. We are all ready to stand up against you.
Soleimani advised U.S. President Donald Trump to consult with former American military and intelligence officials before making anti-Iran threats. The Iranian commander said that Washington should learn lessons from its fiasco in Iraq and Afghanistan as part of its so-called war on terror. Soleimani was speaking days after President Hassan Rouhani and Donald Trump traded warnings. The bellicose rhetoric between the two countries has been ramped up since Trump reinstated sanctions against the Islamic Republic. Over the weekend, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo once again said that Washington wants other countries to stop importing Iranian oil. Now from Tehran, I'm joined by Mustafa Khoshesh, who's a journalist and political commentator. Good to see you. We just heard that this bellicose warnings by two sides have been going on for just recently, over the past week, we can say. It got kind of escalated. Trump threatening, making threats against Iran, and then President Rouhani responding, and today we had Commander Soleimani. Let's have your comments on this.
Hello, and thanks for having me. It's a long time that the United States has been moving on a course towards demise, and this is not just a claim, and this has been a fact admitted and acknowledged by a large number of thinkers in the West. But apparently, the United States has not come to realize or come along with this fact, and it has not changed its dialogue and literature accordingly. That's why the United States is repeating the same old mistakes that George Bush did, actually, short of war, of course, and military action, but the literature and discourse is the same. They don't know that, according to the present strategy that has been adopted, if it can be called a strategy by the United States president, they are trying to raise the stakes in order to, give some impetus and some kind of motivation to the foes and rivals in order to go for talks and negotiations and for new deals with Donald Trump. But this doesn't work with regard to Iran, and Donald Trump needs to study the past actions and behavior towards Iran to understand this. The United States needs to understand that it has to talk to Iran with the language of respect and not threat. That's what Obama learned. But of course, only speaking with the language of respect is not enough. Respect should be shown in action, and the U.S. president has proved to be the last person in the whole world that might show respect to actions like the Iran nuclear deal, like the Paris Climate Accord, like the NAFTA agreement, and many others. So this basically means that the U.S. is going a wrong course and there is no returning back. But this has a lesson for the Europeans to understand that they cannot keep Iran waiting until November to provide Iran with what it wants. The mechanisms to ensure that its merits under the JCPOA would continue. Otherwise, they should be waiting for Iran's counter strategy, because such threats, exchanging verbal threats, would increase prices in the energy market. And once this is done, rallying international support for the U.S. sanctions on Iran's energy market would be very much difficult, and the Europeans would also lose a lot by increasing prices, energy prices. Right. So they need to make a...
Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and salutations to your brothers out there in the highways and byways. There's noise in this world abroad. Sincerely, all around the world. And what you just saw here was a clip, you know, of this guy right here, that's speaking on the microphones. General Qasem Soleimani, you know, one of the top generals of the Iranian, you know, military, you know, and at the end of the day, he had stepped in, you know, for the president, you know. Further on in that speech that he was making, he said he was telling, you know, President Trump, you know, that don't deal with, you know, President Rouhani, you know, deal with me, you know, because, you know, I'm the one that's gonna respond to your threats, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, these other nations ain't taking no shit from America. You know, these other nations are rising up and they ain't taking their shit, you know. America's been a long time, you know, on that throne, you know, bullying, you know, pushing these other nations around. Now these nations are fed up, you know. Now these nations are rising up and speaking against you devils, you know. And that's going on into prophecy, because ultimately what the Most High is setting up, and what the Most High is going to do is, you know, he's going to gather all you nations in that valley, you know. He's going to gather all you nations in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is over there in the Middle East, you know, for that war to end all wars, you know. Because he stated in that speech that he made that, you know, if you start a war with us, and we'll finish it, you know. And quite frankly, he's right, you know, because at the end of the day, they got the backing of the Russians and of the Chinese, you know. So at the end of the day, and you already had Vladimir Putin already warning that, you know, any attack or any military attack on Iran, you know, will result in consequences, you know. Why? Because they got a lot of interest and a lot of money invested in Iran, not just Russia, but China too, and all these other nations that's affiliated with Iran. So, but I'm gonna get into the scriptures, and I'm gonna let the scriptures speak. And this is the book of Joel chapter 3 verse Joel chapter 3 verse 10, and it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say that I'm strong, you know? And the weak are saying that they're strong now, you know. The weak are saying that they're strong. These other nations that was once looked upon as being weak, you know, as being nobodies, you know, they're now coming out and saying that they're strong, you know. Assemble yourselves, come all ye heathens, and gather yourself together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, you know, the valley of decisions, you know. For the Lord will sit, for then will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, you know. At the end of the day, the Most High is setting this thing up, you know, to bring all you nations over there so he could judge you heathens for what y'all did to the nation of Israel. And this is a prime example right here, you know, that these other nations are not rising up against America, you know. But I'm gonna read on. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. You know, the harvest is ripe. That time is now, you know. That time for World War III is now, you know. So the harvest is ripe. Come get ye down, for the press is full, and the fat overfloweth. for their wickedness is great, you know. And that's talking about America, because America's wickedness is great, you know. Like we bring out, you know, week after week as we go out and prophesy the downfall of America, that, you know, homosexuality is at an all-time high, you know, bestiality, you know, idolatry, you know, stealing, idolatry, you know, all the 613 laws that are written in this book, you know, America's against. America does not keep not one law in it, you know, not one of them, you know. All 613 laws America constantly breaks, you know, every day, you know. But yet they want to swear on the Bible and say that the Bible is the law of the land, but you know they're not doing it, you know. They're not abiding by this book, you know. They're not following, you know, the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High set up for ultimately for the nation of Israel to follow, you know, to keep. So America's making that very same mistake, you know, the so-called white man, which is the man of sin, and that's why he's going to be punished, you know. Verse 14, multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decisions, for the day of the Lord is near, and is in the valley of decisions, you know. The day of the Lord is near, you know. How do we know that the day of the Lord is near? Through the signs of the heavens, you know, the signs that we're seeing in the heavens, you know, with the moon, you know, turning into blood, you know, lunar eclipses, you know, solar eclipses, you know, shooting stars, all these wonders in this heaven, all the signs that the Lord left for us, you know. Uproars rising of the people, you know, the uproars of the people rising up against their governments, you know. Those are the signs that the Lord left us, you know, for us to know that, you know, that His coming is near, you know. And let me just jump into the book of Matthew's the 24th chapter. So this is the book of Matthew's the 24th chapter. And I'm going to start at the 6th verse. And it says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. For all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and ye shall be killed. And ye shall be killed, and shall kill you, Salakia. And ye shall be hated for all nations of my name's sake." You know. So the Lord said that we shall be hated for all nations for His name's sake, and we are being hated. You know, the number one hated group out there is GMS. You know, so we are being hated for the Lord's sake. But you know, but in verse 6, you know, the scripture says that you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. You know, this is what we're hearing right now. You know, with this general right here, this Iranian top general right here, you know, saying that, you know, if America wants to start a war with us, we'll finish it, you know. And, you know, quite frankly, he's right, you know, because they are going to finish it, you know, through the backing of Russia and China and all these other nations that's going to come up against America. Because all these nations right now are preparing for war, you know. They're getting their military equipment ready, you know, their military, you know, you know, planes and everything, you know, they're submarines, you know, they're getting ready for this war. And this war is about to take place in the near future. You know, it's only a matter of time before this thing pops off like, you know, like a champagne bottle. So with that, you know, I just wanted to bring this out and bring this, you know, bring this video out. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the head apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to y'all brothers out there in the highways and byways. And with that, I want to say shalom.